A few. A few. Let's get into it. A few good movies. A few. A good. A few. Good. A few. Let's get into it. A few good movies.
So what's up, guys? Here we are again, another
What's
mini
up?
episode. We've made it to number 2.
Amazing.
How you feeling about it?
Incredible.
I am amazed by this.
Right?
Yeah.
We're sticking with it.
Yeah.
We're every Monday, man. Like clockwork.
Every Monday. You know what's funny? I've been looking at the trends when people listen, and I see like there's always a little bump on Thursdays. Which is nice.
Thursday.
Yeah, which I guess
Thursday's the day.
I sort of makes sense because people, listen to their, first podcast in the beginning of the week, and then Thursday they get to us.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
The 20th down the line.
Yeah.
You can be as low on your list as you prefer.
We want that Monday time slot.
Yeah.
So welcome everybody to this mini episode of A Few Good Movies. I'm Zach Dame, and with me is Chris Porto
How's it going?
and Sam Resmail.
Hey, what's up, guys?
So how's the week? The last week. How has it gone for you? What's you guys been watching and doing?
Holy shit.
So
Let
much.
me tell you. So much.
Has it been a busy week?
It has.
It
it has
took
been
some
a busy
extra days off
Yeah.
on the Labor Day weekend.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I have binged like too much. I mean, we could get right into it.
Yeah, let's get into
Let's do
it.
it.
What you been watching?
So I took Sammer's advice from the last episode, and I watched both seasons of Cobra Kai.
Awesome.
Almost like in 2 days, I blew through it.
Yeah, they're short and
Love-
sweet.
I loved it. I thought it was amazing. Cannot wait for season 3.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's
I started it as well.
It's just fun.
It's fun.
It's got like all that nostalgia without being like wink wink, look at me, we're the 80s, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how good the two lead actors are still. I think
I've
they
only
do
watched
a great job, especially Johnny. I think he's fantastic. He's so
Yeah,
good.
he is pretty
William Zabka.
good. Yeah.
And it gets you in the feels a lot more than I thought it would.
Yeah,
And,
the kids do it for me. The kids are pretty good, and they're
the kids are all the main kids are pretty fantastic.
yeah.
You know, I don't know who any of them are, but you know, they're
Neither
doing
do
a great
I.
job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I'm going slowly with this. I'm not binging it. I'm just kind of taking my time with it. So I'm only a few episodes in.
I mean,
But
next year
love
is
it.
season
I'll keep
3,
watching it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
you got a while.
Yeah. I enjoy
but
it.
yeah, highly recommended. The other one I binged, which Sammer also recommended. I don't think it was on the last episode, but before. I watched both seasons of Barry.
Oh my
Ooh.
God! I can't
Which
believe you
is
hadn't
probably
seen that
like-
before.
My like third favorite HBO series.
Ooh, what are the first two?
That's a very specific
Uh,
list of shows.
I mean, you know, HBO is such high quality. Even
They do
before
have
the whole
Some of my
streaming
favorite
thing
shows.
started.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, for me, it's Curb Your Enthusiasm,
Yeah.
Flight of the Conchords, and
Okay.
probably
Oh, yeah.
Barry right after that.
Oh, so no
Um,
Game of Thrones.
No, I
I know,
never
there's
even
so many
finished Game
good
of Thrones.
shows.
Yeah. Huh.
I have like 2 seasons I haven't watched of that show, but
That doesn't even
uh,
begin to talk about the new shows like Lovecraft Country. and
which
Lovecraft
I only saw the
Country.
pilot for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And what's the other one that was just recently? Oh, Sam talked Watchmen.
Oh.
I mean,
Oh, Watchmen's
That's
great.
really good.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
up there for me. Ridley Scott did Raised by Wolves, which is pretty interesting. I've only seen the first episode, and I kind of dug it.
I wanna see it 'cause
HBO's killing it,
looks
guys.
Yeah.
HBO
amazing.
might be like the best out there right now.
Yeah, HBO Max is definitely the one I go towards every time I turn on my TV. And I've been watching The Vow, which is this great docuseries about Nexium, which was this, wellness cult, whatever you want to call it, that ran an underground sex cult.
Okay.
It's fascinating. I don't know how well you guys like to talk about cults or know about cults, but it's so fascinating to
I'm in
think.
one.
Yeah, aren't we all? I feel like I'm like, wait, is this a cult? Like, what? Like eating
Fantasy football.
Yeah, fantasy football. East like every holiday. I'm like, why are we doing this again? Because it's Easter. Because it's Christmas. All right, whatever. But it's so fascinating for me, someone who like hates communities and clubs. I guess I don't hate them, but I've never really been a part of one. To see them like just like jump in, head first into them, and be like, oh yeah, this is awesome. I feel 10 times better. And then on the flip side, they're like branding themselves and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
I've never understood how people. I never understood how people can so easily have their minds just like consumed by that stuff.
Yeah.
People, man.
Zach and I went to Catholic school for 12 years, and the whole time I was
Represent.
like, I don't believe any of this.
Oh, jeez.
Like, not even once did I buy into any of that.
Don't alienate listeners.
I don't
So
care if
early.
you
All
believe
our
it.
Catholic listeners.
I know all of our Catholic fan
right.
base
Yeah.
I'm
will
sorry,
really be
Father
offended by
Mark.
that.
Yeah.
Forgive us. I liked Catholic school. I'm sorry. I liked Catholic. I mean, it was a lot of church. We went to a lot of church.
Right.
I like to say that we went to so much church, it makes up for the fact that I don't really go anymore.
Oh, there you go.
Twice a week.
Three times. Wasn't it like Tuesday, Thursday, Friday? We're getting off topic, but it was a lot of church.
Probably.
But other than that, I didn't mind it. It wasn't bad.
Yeah.
So you'd recommend the
I mean-
show. You think The Vow, would you recommend it?
Absolutely. And it's scored by none other than Matt Quayle, who scored Mr. Robot.
Oh, that's awesome.
And a ton of Ryan Murphy stuff too. So the music is
Nice.
is on point as well.
That's great. Oh, Chris, didn't you have a music? You had some music you wanted to bring up too, didn't you? A record coming out?
Oh yeah,
Oh.
Trent Reznor. Trent Reznor released the soundtrack for the old computer game Quake on his website, the Nine Inch Nails website.
He's actually re-released a bunch of his records on vinyl. And I was
Yeah, it is on vinyl.
I was thinking about getting The Social Network right
Oh,
there on vinyl.
One of my favorites.
I might
Do you
wait
have no
a bit.
idea how often I use the Social Network score
Yeah.
as like temp score in projects, that I edit or assist and edit. Yeah, it was such a good usable soundtrack.
Yeah.
That could be used in a lot of ways. It was, well, it's been a while since I've used it because
It's-
it's a little older now, but
It's
Now
like
you
very
can use
good.
Quake.
I could use
Well-
Quake.
Well, you should use the Ghosts album by Nine Inch Nails. Some of them are actually on the Social Network album. So
Oh, okay.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
reused. Yeah. And then I think
Nice.
during the quarantine, or I guess we're still in it, but Trent Reznor released 2 more albums of Ghost 5 and 6, which are awesome as well. So you could score, a whole series of stuff with his stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And
Oh my God,
and he
that's
just
amazing.
won an Emmy for scoring. Him and Atticus Ross won an Emmy for Watchmen. So now he has
That's a good score.
he has an Emmy, a Grammy, and an Oscar. 'Cause
Oh,
he
yeah, the
won
score.
Oscar.
The little bit that I've seen of the Watchmen, the score really stood out to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
yeah,
pretty special.
definitely. Yeah.
Well, very cool. I'm trying to think of what I've been watching lately. I've actually been just going back and revisiting old stuff. I think I mentioned that I wanted to go back and watch X-Files, and I am like
Oh,
full steam ahead. I'm on season 3 of X-Files now.
In order, are you
And-
watching them?
Yeah, from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because I realized when I was a kid and they came out, I wasn't very consistent. I would just watch it on occasion. So I missed a lot. Like,
yeah.
I would say 75% of what I'm seeing is new to me. But
That's
I'm hitting all
shocking.
of they really hit the stride. I mean, season 3's got or I think it's season 3, maybe season 2, end of season 2. There's some great episodes. Like, I think
Yeah.
I hit the one with the freak show people that all live in the same like trailer park.
Humbug.
That I think is like a classic.
And it's got the guy from Twin Peaks in it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then another one that I totally forgot about is an episode that's got a young Jack Black and
Yeah.
everyone's favorite 90s little brother, Giovanni Ribisi,
BC, yeah.
Mm.
The
playing
lightning one.
a guy that can control lightning.
That's an awesome
Um,
episode.
Amazing. Like, so I'm just discovering all these episodes that totally forgot about, and it's always fun. Also, there's an episode with a very young Jewel State, who of course went on to be in like amazing other
Yeah.
stuff. She
Firefly.
was Firefly, of course. But it's crazy to go back and watch a show like that and see all these people that then you recognize from way later.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I,
what I've
oddly
been
enough, I've for whatever reason have been watching the OC. And have you guys ever watched it?
No.
no.
Okay, it's very silly.
For some reason, I thought
soapy.
you meant the OA.
No,
I
mean,
realized what you
I
were
watched
saying.
that as well, but no, I
Masterpiece.
there are just like, I mean, there's sometimes I just put on shows that I think are just like, oh, I'll put this on while I clean my house or wash the dishes or whatever, just
Yeah,
like
sure.
background noise, just something, I don't know. And I put the OC on thinking like I'll never get into this, and like I can at least see what people talk, because people consider it a great show for whatever reason, or it was at least like a landmark show. But Olivia Wilde is in the second season, and it's just insane to see her so young and like not that talented yet. Like she's much better nowadays in movies. But
Was
it
that
is
like-
interesting
is that
to
her
see where
start?
people have come from?
yeah, for sure.
It
Yeah,
might
yeah.
have been actually.
What'd you say?
Right,
You
it must have
mentioned
been
Jack
pretty-
Black, and now Sammer's mentioning Olivia Wilde, and then I'm thinking about Barry. How you see like Barry talks so much about the craft of acting more so than like probably any show I've ever seen, but you get so much insight into the process, which I really
Yeah.
like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very
Barry
cool.
Barry has been such a great show for a while. Like I remember during those last seasons of Game of Thrones being more excited to watch Barry. And
I could see that.
yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah.
It's not completely miserable.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, wait,
not
isn't
only that, it's
Succession
just
also-
better show, you know.
Yeah.
Succession's also HBO, isn't it?
It is.
It is, yeah.
That's such another great show. HBO, man.
Yeah.
Killing it. If you haven't seen Succession, highly recommend. It is great.
Yeah.
Sammer, you were kind of hot and cold on it, if I remember.
I think there are great moments in the show, but it is a bit confusing, and I don't know. It's not. I don't consider it as good as like Barry or The Vow or anything. Although I guess The Vow is a docuseries, but I don't think it's a great show yet. I think it's good, and I'll keep watching.
Definitely, I
Yeah.
will too. I mean, it's award nominated at least, I think. Oh yeah,
Yeah. No,
it's gotten a bunch of nominations.
it definitely won in the first season.
It's no slouch. Like if that's the lesser of HBO's offerings, that's not bad.
No, I mean people love it. That's the thing. So HBO
Yeah,
always manages to, have a super popular show. Another show on HBO, I May Destroy You, which I think is my favorite show in quarantine, besides Devs and Dave. Those two were kind of
right.
fun in early quarantine, but late quarantine, I May Destroy You was a show that I watched every week.
It's a good point.
Yeah.
This quarantine's been going on so long, and you can really separate it out into the shows
Oh,
that
yeah.
you've been binging. Like my wife and I were just talking. We should be making a list of everything that we've watched since the beginning, but I don't
Yeah.
think I can even remember at this point. There've been so many phases.
I have a list.
I recommend
You have
a
a
list.
list?
I have a list as well.
I've been keeping this book
I'm
all
like
year.
I'm like a little bit under 200 movies for the year.
I'm at 227.
Yeah.
Wow,
Yeah.
God, guys, I don't keep track. I don't think it's.
I
not
just thought it'd
size
be a
that
fun
matters.
thing to do this year, and then the quarantine happened, and it's like, wow,
Yeah, I can watch
it makes
3
it more
movies a day.
interesting.
Sure, I would say I've definitely binged more shows than movies, though.
I think I did that initially, but then I was like, well, I want to see different stories, so I just gravitated towards
Yeah.
movies. I also think movies are just better. Like for every one great show, there's 10 great movies. So
I feel like the inverse is true.
wow.
I mean,
feel
shows
like-
are such a long commitment, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
know?
the difference. Is they're just longer commitments.
It's like
I
I
think
didn't
there are-
watch as many movies because I watched so much Barry and Cobra Kai over the past 2 weeks.
There you go. I mean, I just, Sam, wouldn't you say that there are just more below average movies than there are great movies every year?
Oh, for
Probably
sure.
because of the quantity of them. Yeah.
Yeah. Like what? How many movies come out a year? Like 500?
So many.
Yeah.
More.
So yeah, and how
Too many.
how many
Not
of
this
them?
year.
Well,
Stop reminding us, Chris. Every time.
I will say that
Buzzkill.
an actual movie that was supposed to be hyped up and supposed to be this big blockbuster hit, Tenet, I saw a few days ago.
Oh,
And
cool.
it is one of the most confusing movies I've ever seen in my life.
Really?
It is so.
Is it?
It's like it really. You really need to like pay attention, pause, kind of think about what information was given to you, process it, and then hit play, and then keep watching. Like that's really the only way you can
Interesting.
watch this movie.
So sometimes that's a good. I'm not saying that's always a bad thing. That can be a good experience, but then like it can veer into just being frustrating.
Yeah, I think it veered into frustration more than being enjoyable, because there should be a flow to move. Like that's the idea, right? You want a flowing story. You want to like, even though you might get lost at some pieces, you want to make sure that it's somehow further explained later on. And I think
Right,
Tenet is just like, we're not going to give you any information. We're going to keep you going. You're going to get tidbits of stuff, and then at the end, we're going to have this like big kind of explanation that really needs like a rewatch to understand, and maybe several rewatches.
Oh wow,
So yeah, I don't know.
interesting. I mean, I will watch it, but I
Yeah,
It
will
just
keep that
to
in
me
mind.
it just seems like Christopher Nolan just trying to out Nolan himself. Like he must have a dartboard with all of these crazy concepts, and they just like hit it
Yeah.
right on the reverse time travel slot or some shit.
yeah,
yeah.
I think it looks
Also,
it looks cool, but I'm not like gonna rush out to see it.
I
Well,
keep
be
seeing
safe
stories
if you
about
rush
how
out to see it, guys.
they're
Yeah.
it's such a loud movie that he's really going over the top with his mixes now, where you can't even
Oh,
understand the dialogue anymore. I keep seeing stories about that.
I mean, we watched it in a drive-in, so we could
Oh.
change the
Couldn't really
volume
tell.
as I mean, with the volume was at a normal level.
Right.
So
But even just like the levels compared to the backgrounds and the effects and the music, like the dialogue
is
is
lower.
getting buried.
Yeah.
It seems like.
Well, see, I know a lot of people watch movies with the captions on, and I sort of do it sometimes, especially if it is like a British movie or like anything that's like where the dialect or the accent are going to get in the way of me understanding. But sometimes I'm like, you know what? If they want to mix it that way, and I can't understand what they're saying, and then it's not, and the information is not that important because you're mixing it so low, then fine. I'll just roll with it and then criticize the movie as as it comes. So that's just
I
my
guess
MO.
so. Yeah. No, I guess so. Yeah. I mean, I just think there's a trend to make everything too loud these days.
Yeah, well,
You know?
it's funny because if you
I don't-
listen to like old Led Zeppelin songs like before they were remastered, everything was
Mm-hmm.
lower, and then
Hmm.
a remastered Led Zeppelin song, everything is just super high. Like even like just go to Spotify and just put on a song from the '70s compared to a song that's out now, and you'll notice the volume is much higher.
That means that as a society, we'll all be deaf
Louder,
in like 3 generations.
Yeah, I think
Except for Disney.
I think as a society, bigger and better, or bigger and louder is better.
Yeah.
Every
That's
Disney
just-
sound mix is like notoriously low, especially on
Interesting.
on disc. People complain about it all the
Oh,
time.
interesting. Oh.
Huh.
And like anytime I put a Disney like Blu-ray on, I always have to crank the volume like way higher than any other movie I put in.
Interesting.
Yeah, what is the deal with? I don't know what it is about like a home viewing experience, but I don't know how many times I put on a movie and I have to crank the volume up for the dialogue, and then like a music cue will hit, and it'll just be blaring. Like, why is that? Like, can you mix the movie properly?
Well,
so I'm not doing that.
I always assumed is that they mixed it for a theater, and your house is not a theater, but
that could be part of it.
There's got to be a way, a setting, or like I don't know if you guys are using sound systems or just playing it off your TV speaker. But I'm sure there's a setting to equal everything out for TV viewing.
I mean, I have a sound bar that's pretty kind of fancy, and it has a setting for dialogue. You can actually raise the center channel dialogue.
Yep.
And it doesn't even help. It still doesn't seem to make a difference. But I want to get to one more topic before we hit episodes for the week. And that is, for me, the biggest thing I did is related to VR. I don't know how into VR you guys are, but I'm not much of a gamer, but virtual reality and Oculus has just caught my interest over the years. And I actually was gifted an Oculus Quest last year, which is sort of like known as the kind of premier, I think, headset these days. And just a few days ago, Facebook announced the Oculus Quest 2, which is super exciting. Did you guys see anything on that?
I did.
I did not.
Can somebody please buy an Oculus 2 so that I have somebody to play in VR with? Because I don't know anybody else with a VR headset. So please.
I mean, are there a lot of co-op VR games? I don't know if there are.
Yeah. No, now I think Facebook's really making a push to make it more co-op and community stuff. Like, you know, one of my favorite games on there is just a ping pong game. So if you had the same game, we could be playing ping pong together in a virtual world. I mean, it's simple, but surprisingly fun. But the thing that really caught my attention was they had a big keynote speech to do all this announcing of the new VR stuff, and I actually watched it in VR. They have a thing called Oculus Venues, and there's a new version that's in beta that felt as close as it's come yet, for me anyway, to feeling like the movie Ready Player One. It's crazy because you do feel like you're in sort of a universe that everyone is in at once, and that you could really interact in real ways. I mean, the way that they do their avatars is really neat. They set it up like you're walking around sort of a convention center, and you can go to this room for this thing, and this the other, you know, for a concert, and this room for a keynote speech, and it felt really, really immersive and really, really communal. Thousands of people watched the keynote that way.
Yeah.
And it really made me feel like we're going to get to the point where like the Ready Player One stuff isn't that far off, really. Like where you can be in worlds like that. And then they're doing something just like Venues called Horizons, which is basically, instead of just being things to go watch, it's more interactive, like a world you can live in and create things and create games and whatever. I don't know. All I'm saying is you guys should get Quest headsets. Like Sammer, a couple weeks ago, I watched an NBA game for free in Venues, and it's like not only are you sitting there as if you got a front row seat for the floor level seat for the game, but you're watching it alongside others, and like if we went in together, we could sit there and interact with each other and talk about the game while we're watching it.
Portlandia had a sketch about this, but
cool.
It was a concert.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
Yeah,
well, that's old technology, man. Portlandia.
I mean, it's cool, but the one time I tried my PSVR, I was like sweating bullets and I felt sick for the rest of the day.
Oh boy!
So I'm not too keen to ever like really get into VR.
I think the technology, that was a little while back. It's improving. Yeah. It's getting lighter. It's getting more comfortable. It's not there yet.
I think it's just harder for people that wear glasses.
That is true.
And like motion sickness is a big deal.
Well, yeah. Theoretically, would you not like? Are you nearsighted or farsighted? Because theoretically, you don't necessarily need glasses, right?
No, I'm nearsighted, so it works for me.
Yeah. So yeah, it's just it would be like reading a book without glasses. You don't.
Yeah. Which it can do if I hold it like here.
They do give you the option to have your glasses on while you play it. There's like a piece that you can add to it. I don't know.
God.
It is. There
It's
are
gotta
complications.
fit so awkwardly.
Man,
Anyway, I'm excited by it.
you know what is really fun though? Actually playing ping pong and actually going to
I
a
agree.
game.
No.
I kind of agree with that.
I do agree too, but this year especially, it's a nice thing to have.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
To make me feel a little
Yeah.
more. Yeah, and there's other stuff too that it can do. Like there's actually a game. It's like a real sport called Echo VR, I think, that kind of plays a little bit like Quidditch or something.
Oh boy.
Where it's zero gravity and you float and you're on teams. And I've actually seen like you could be a spectator, like you can watch teams play each other because they're that interesting. And you couldn't do that in real life, man. You can't float around in zero gravity in real life and play a soccer-esque game.
That's like Ready Player One. He had that like zero G rig that he would get into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're getting there.
Future's bright.
Spielberg.
Anyway, I think it's about time, though, on that note, that we get on to next week's topic. And this week, it's Chris's pick. So, Chris, why don't you
I picked the topic.
go ahead and explain it? Yeah.
Next week, we're talking about movies that break the fourth wall. So, just like I am talking to you, the viewer, these are films that sort of break that barrier between the film and the viewer and address the viewer directly in some way.
That's right. And there's so many of them.
There's a lot.
I think we really made an effort to pick ones that, I don't know, weren't the obvious choices.
A little bit different
this week.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So I picked the 2008 French film JCVD, which is Jean-Claude Van Damme. Don't go away. It's actually quite good.
It's in French.
It is in French, so you know it's good.
French.
You know,
foreign.
We should note about the subbing versus the dubbing, because I think the movie's better with subtitles. And
I've never seen it dubbed,
agree.
and I probably would never watch it dubbed.
But just keep in mind that depending on if you do watch it, a lot of it that is streaming is the dubbed version. You don't have a choice.
Yeah, unfortunately. But if you happen to if you can find it somehow, find the subbed version, because it's so much better that way.
Yeah,
Yes.
and a lot of people think Van Damme is a joke, and I probably talk about this in the episode, but I think he gives he gives a great performance. It's the best performance of his career. I think it's on par with an award-winning performance. Maybe not an Oscar, but it's a
Some
very
lesser
good,
award.
some other award that's not an Oscar. That
Yeah, Golden
Anyway,
Globe.
Zach, what did you pick?
I picked a lesser-known horror film called Resolution. Came out in 2012 by a directing team named Benson and Moorhead. They've made a few pretty low-budget horror films that have gotten some notoriety, and they have a new film coming out pretty soon too. That looks pretty interesting.
Yeah.
This is an interesting one to watch. It's definitely more of a challenging viewing because it's pretty low budget. But I really enjoyed it. I've seen it a couple times, and I like talking about it because it's got some interesting things to discuss.
Yeah. Yeah, and a note on that one is this: there's like a spiritual sequel, and I can't remember what it's called.
The
now.
Void.
Void.
The Endless. Sorry.
The Endless. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you watch Resolution, watch Endless as well.
Yes, I've heard that they do complement each other
Yeah.
nicely. However, there is like a many-year gap between Resolution and then the Endless.
Yeah.
So, I mean, for people who watched it when it came out, they wouldn't have had that reference.
It's true. Resolution
For
is
what
a
it's
very,
worth.
very. I mean, I can imagine why it took them so long. They're a very indie group. I think they made the movie with like $1 million. So it was,
And spoiler alert,
yeah,
we don't all agree on it, so that'll be fun to listen to.
this this caused some controversy.
Yeah.
But
So looking forward to
Friendship
hearing what.
is over.
yeah.
No, it strengthens the friendship.
But so speaking of friendships, I picked the movie American Animals, which came out in 2018, and it's about these young kids, robbing a library of like priceless artifacts and books and stuff. That is an amazing movie because it's almost like a documentary / scripted movie in a way. Like, and that's what drew me to that. And like most documentaries kind of break the fourth wall. Like there's always some type of talking head that's speaking to the audience. And this did it in a way that I've never seen before.
For sure, yeah.
Well, actually, I shouldn't say that because Tanya does that too. But it's interesting.
But does Tanya? I've never seen it. That doesn't interview real people?
No. So yeah. The interesting part about American Animals is that they have the actual kids that tried to rob this library.
Right.
But the actors, Evan Peters, Barry Kagan, who I think is phenomenal, they are playing the actual robbers. So it's funny to see the actual people talking about the robbery, and then Evan Peters is the one orchestrating it.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, this is an interesting movie because of the producers behind it, right, Sammer?
Oh, well, I don't think it was the producers, but during distribution, this was like a peak Movie Pass when this came out. And I think
Movie Pass.
Yeah, so
That's
Movie
funny.
Pass is one of the
people that remember that week.
It was like half a year, I'd
Week
say.
in time.
Yeah. But yeah, they distributed it, and that's how I got to see it for free with my Movie Pass, and I fell in love immediately. I actually went to like a screening that gave out coloring books, which makes sense in the movie. Yeah, so that was my pick.
Nice.
Awesome.
3 good movies. Can't wait to see them. Well, that's great. I think that about wraps it up for today. Sammer, why don't you hit everybody with where they can find us?
So you can find us all on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter under A Few Good Movies Pod or A Few Good Movies P on Twitter. I know a lot of celebrities are doing
The most regrettable name.
Well, I mean, Twitter has a 15 character limit. But I know a lot of celebrities are going dark on Facebook and Instagram, which I applaud because I don't think they're a great company. I don't think that's a great company. But check us out on Twitter and listen to the podcast. Just subscribe to the podcast and listen to it every week, and then go on YouTube and watch this stuff.
Like, share, and
Yes.
comment.
Yeah.
Please
Yeah.
do.
We need
Tell us if you
feedback.
agree. Yes.
Oh,
and tell us especially.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead, Sam.
Oh, I was just going to say, you can just directly email us at afewgoodpods@gmail.com. A few good movies pod singular @gmail.com.
There. That sounds right.
Yes. Sorry.
Yeah,
That's one of
we know
those.
what you meant. Yeah. All right. Well, sounds good. Looking forward to the next episode. Please listen. It's going to be a fun one. And
Monday.
we will see you next. Yep, Monday. We'll see you next week on A Few Good Movies. Bye.
See ya.
Peace.